We have some of the most developed provinces in the entire world,
and stacking multiplicative development modifiers to play so tall that our cities will reach outer space.
Involved a lot of development and clicking missions to get more dev, as well as building some more buildings.
Because I played a tall colonial game.
So you're stacking all of the dev cost modifiers, which graphic power costs, to get as cheap deving as possible and scale the hell out of your country.
So you want to play tall? Let me tell you something. 30 dev per province isn't tall. 40 dev per province isn't tall. If you want to play tall, you might as well do it right. I'm talking about 100 development per province easily. And I'm talking not only in one province. You can do this strategy for as many provinces as you want and for as high development as you want. I'm the student and I present the path to almost infinite development. The path to sky-scraping holy orders. And in this video I'll show you exactly how this can be done and why it is not an exploit at all, like the infinite development in Prague, for example. So I'm going to show you how this tactic works that I've developed, but if you want to see how this strategy looks in practice and how far you can push this in an actual game and what little tricks make this even easier and more valuable, then you should definitely check out the video done by my fellow YouTube colleague, the Playmaker, who uploaded a video just at the same time as I did here. So we did a collaboration in which I show off the tactic and he shows off the result. So check out the video linked in the first pinned comment for that after I showed you how it's actually done. So let's get started right away with the actual strategy. And before some very smart viewers come up with several ideas on how to make this even better, holy orders are actually very exploit safe, because if you destate and restate the provinces, you lose the holy order development. And if you switch out of the required culture group or lose the requirements for holy orders in any other way, you cannot do the holy orders again, because the game still says a holy order was established in that province. And if you give the land away out of your own ownership in any way, you have to pay the increasing price of AE war score cost admin mana every single time you do that, on top of the time that it of course costs to not only let the truce run out but also conquer these lands. And if you have like 50 development provinces, you cannot even annex all of them in one war, so that doesn't work as well. So literally the only useful way to use holy orders more than once on the same provinces is by using my tactic here. And it is only almost an infinite development, because you actually pay the intended price for all the actions you're doing, and that's also why it's not even an exploit. But you're going to see that this is still totally overpowered. Okay, so let me just show you what I'm talking about in this example game of Austria that I've set up 1536 over here. And I'm going to show it in an example of one state only, which is the state of Lombardy. And first of all, you have to keep in mind what you need for holy orders, of course, and that is mainly the culture group, the Iberian culture group, that is my primary culture in this case, Catalan, as you can see. There are other ways, like Hungary gets a similar way with the new update, and France can unlock it through the Crusader missions, but basically it's just Iberian culture as primary culture. And then you also need a state that you have full stated, so it doesn't work with territorial cores. It needs to be full cored and all the provinces need to be owned by you, and that is basically the requirements that you can see that I fulfill, so that I can now create holy orders. And for the trick you need another thing. You need 100% diplomatic annexation cost reduction. And for example, you can see this over here, I have minus 110% even. Honestly, 100% reduction is not even hard on the current patch. There are so many nations that get reduction modifiers for that. Spain, Provence can get this easily. Bohemia, Hungary, Austria, of course, that I'm playing right now. And then, of course, Austria is reformable, Hungary is reformable, Spain is formable, even though it's an endgame tag, but still formable. So it is very, very easy to get that to minus 100%. And what that actually does is it reduces the diplomatic annexation cost of vassals to the absolute minimum. Okay, so you can see right here, the annexation of Parma in this case will cost me 1 Diplo point, okay? And Parma has 14 development, okay? So the minimum price that you actually pay is 0.1 Diplo point per development, which means that you pay only 100 Diplo mana for 1000 development to integrate, okay? And that will become really important. You're going to see that in a second. And then another little trick that I showed in the last video, you can actually get minus 20% reduction from the papacy, minus 10% from the curia controller, and minus 10% from the papal legate bonus that you can choose before you become the pope actually, and then you get minus 20% from that. And then also very important is to take the nobility integration policy for no Diplo reputation loss and another minus 5% annexation cost. So that is all the setup that you need. And then of course subjects that I've created near the provinces that you want to do the trick on. And I'm going to show you this right now with Parma as the first nation. Before I show you some tricks and things you have to keep in mind with while doing that. So first of all, to using the holy orders, of course, you want to use them always when they are available, okay? So you can see that I've developed all of those provinces to 31 development already, except for this one to 21. So that is because up to 30 development, the development cost modifier is kind of reasonable, right? So you want to do it as much as you can with the normal way before you start the trick. And then of course you can decide what points you want to choose. In my case, I really want to choose military points for more manpower, but you can of course also choose like Diplo points for more base production, for money of course, and for sailors if you want to go for that. I wouldn't recommend doing it with admin power because tax meta gets way less valuable the longer you play into the game. But anyways, you can do whatever you want. Just keep in mind that if you use mill power, you get mill development. Okay? So I'm just going to do that right now to show it off to you. So I'm just going to do one development right now. Just keep in mind, Milano, for example, has 31 development. All 4 of those provinces have 31 development, and this one has 21. So the entire state has right now 145 development, okay? So you can see the development points over here as well. And now if I do that, use the holy order, of course, all of that increases by 1, as you can see, okay? Now the problem is, of course, I cannot do that again right now. And now comes the strategy where I actually can give this land away to my vassal, which in this case I'll start with Parma. So I can simply give this land away, all of those provinces, to my subject Parma. There we go. And now the development keeps being there. I can let 1 day pass, for example. If you don't believe me, you can see the development stays on the provinces, okay? Now you see, the interesting thing is you can use holy orders on your subject provinces, okay? So what I can now do, I can choose the same holy order for another 1 military development in all of these provinces again. You can see all of these development increased again. And now what I can do, I can annex my vassal for 16 mana points that it costs, and I make 20 per month, so 1 month tick to integrate this vassal. And I'm going to do that real quick. There we go, I just annexed my subject. And now, interestingly, of course, I have the provinces in my full control, and you can see they are already 2 more development than they started, right? But now what I can do, I can full state the state, and as I integrated it, I have full course on that. Which means that I can now use the same order, the same holy order, again on the same provinces. There we go, established by Austria, and now they have 34 development already. Now I can do the same thing with my next vassals that I've prepared over here. So Mantua, for example, in this case. And now as the subject owns the provinces, I just need to wait until they state it, and now I can use the same order again and use the same development again. And now I can integrate the Mantua vassal again for 18 points. This means that I can do the same thing again the next month. There we go. And this now simply repeats until I have annexed all of my vassals, of course, or until I have no mana points left, which can be reduced. You're going to see that in the Playmakers video. But this is basically the way that you can repeat all of that every single time. So then another interesting thing is, if you wonder if the vassal thing works everywhere, you can see that this one is not a normal vassal, this is a client state. And of course you could wait until tech 23, but you could also take mercenary influence ideas for policy that actually allows you to create client states, which means that you can do this anywhere you want. Okay, and before I finish annexation of the last vassal, you might wonder if not at some point the relations of the annexed vassal modifier become a problem. And the answer is no, because the annexed vassal negative relations is kept at -200, okay? And you can see, not even with full improved relations over here, you can keep the relations of a vassal over 190 even with the entire capped out -200 from annexed vassals. So at that point, at which I am right now, actually the relations limit becomes a problem on how often I can do this actually, because you can see this costs me 24 Diplo power to annex this vassal, okay? So I can literally do this all day, all night, if I had enough vassals for that. The problem is you cannot do it as the HRE Emperor after revoking, because then they get another modifier, which is annexed nation of the Holy Roman Empire, as you can see over here. So that doesn't work, but you could theoretically do it as the shogunate, because the daimyos also don't count towards the relations limit. But that is of course some things that is not really needed, because this is already too overpowered this way. But let's just finish that off. You can see already that I calculated it the way that I will end up with 50 development. Of course, this current state I need 2 months to annex them, but you can see easily only 2 months. There it is. and now can state this province again, full state it again, use the holy order again, and there we go. Milan is on 50 development, Cremona is on 50 development, Pavia is at 50 development, and Novara is at 50 development. And before you ask, I don't know at all what happened over here, okay? I simply don't know what happened on this province. You can see it got development. It got like 4 development right now, so it didn't lose the development all the time. Sometimes it lost the development. I don't know what's the problem with this province, but in my test runs, this never happened with any province. And you can also see that it didn't happen with any of the provinces over here. So maybe some of you guys know what is wrong with this province over here. But anyways, you can see that this state now has 225 development instead of 150, which is insane if you think about what I just spent, which is basically nothing, right? I just spent the mana points, but you can see how much the development cost would be otherwise, right? So you have to keep in mind how effective this is to gain development. And this was just an example on one single state. Of course, to make it more effective, you would use the vassals for more states, for as many states as you can at the same time, to make it the most vassal time efficient. But that's of course not the part of this video. I just wanted to show you how it actually works, how the strategy works, and how broken this strategy is. You have to admit, you know, as you can see, like 50 development in this province within just a few months. I got 20 development on top of a already 30 development province. I could do this all day right now, but that's just it for me for this video, because as I said, this is just presenting the tactic. If you want to see how this looks in an actual game and how far you can push this in an actual game, then you should definitely go watch the Playmakers video on this right now, also to show that you appreciate these collaborations between you 4 YouTubers. This is the development map mode over here. This is it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, we are going to see on the next Monday.